Welcome back to I Love Moo! Well, it's been a few months since I made a video and I have good news. I got a job in Korea! So I got a job at an elementary school through Gepic and I'm super excited. So I've got my job, got my visa, got my plane ticket, and now that I've been through the whole process, I thought I'd give you some tips based on my experience. And these are pro tips. I'm really an expert at this now. Hopefully it'll help you avoid some of the speed bumps that I hit along the way. So let's get started! Tip number 1. So this first tip is for those of you who are applying to get a job in Korea for the first time. I would strongly recommend that you use a recruiter, and here's why. If there's a problem with your documents along the way, like what happened for me, it'll be a lot better if you use a recruiter because when you send your documents to Korea, if it goes straight to immigration, I've heard horror stories of people being rejected a visa outright just because their documents weren't together in the way they were supposed to be, even if they have all the qualifications and everything. But if you have a recruiter and you send your documents to them first, they can check through them and help you fix any problems without having to start all over again. Also, the recruiter that I used was Courier Consulting. I've had a really great experience with them. Just saying. Tip number 2. When you're sending your documents around, whether it be to a federal or state agency in your country, or when you eventually send your documents all to Korea, I would really recommend that you not use the postal service and actually use a courier like UPS or FedEx or one of those, whatever floats your boat. The reason for this is you want to make sure that they get there in one piece. Also, make sure to pack them properly so they don't move around in transit. And now, I will tell you the sad tale of what led to this tip. So, I had all my documents ready, I got the job, and I learned that I got the job right before I was going on a trip with my family to Seattle. So I thought, oh, I'll just get all the documents and then once we get there, we were driving, once we get there, I'll just go to a FedEx and send off my documents to Korea. So we drive 20 hours, we get to Seattle. I go to the FedEx store, I print out the rest of the documents I needed and sign all my contracts and everything. And then I go to the counter to send it and the lady's like, you should use a box to send this big stack of documents so that the corners don't get bent. And I was like, really tired and out of it, and I'd never sent anything internationally before, so I was like, okay. That's exactly what I said. So when it got to Korea, I got an email from my recruiter saying that the apostille had detached from my FBI background check. Seriously, the most important paper, and it was unusable. What I think happened was, while it was being sent to Korea, all the papers were moving around in the box. The papers were really heavy, and it pulled the apostille off of my FBI background check. So thankfully, because I used my recruiter, she knew of a service I could use to get that fixed. It took about 2 weeks, but it cost like $150, which was really sad. So I really recommend getting it all packed in tight so that you do not have to deal with spending even more money to get your document fixed. Tip number 3. So this is less of a tip and more of a rundown of the whole process for getting your university degree and your background check ready. And I do apologize to those who aren't in the US. I'm basically just going to be talking to people who are applying from the US because that's my experience. So here we go! So first let's discuss what an apostille is. I had no idea what this was when I started. So I thought I would just clear it up for you now that I've done all the research for you. So an apostille is a document that authenticates the signature of a public official. So to get an apostille, you need the signature of a public official. First, let's start with the university degree, and this is what you do. Get your university degree, take it to a mailbox store or wherever they have a notary public, have them make a copy, and then notarize it to say that that's a true copy of your university degree. It costs about $10, I think it might depend on where you live, $10 plus, a couple cents for the copy, and you're all set. Then, figure out what agency in your state or country does the apostille, and then you just whatever process they say to do, you take it there. I would really recommend, if you can, to walk your degree in person and apply for the apostille, especially for those of you who live in California, because I sent my document to Sacramento and it took 3 weeks to get back to me, but while I was waiting for that, it was taking so long, I just went into the Los Angeles regional office for the Secretary of State, just first thing in the morning right when they opened. It took me 20 minutes, I was done. So I would really recommend doing that. In California, I think it was around like $20 for the apostille. Not bad. University degree, done! Now, the FBI background check. Now, this is kind of complicated. Make sure you do all the steps or you won't be able to get your apostille and it won't work. So, step number 1, go to the FBI website and print out the application form for a personal background check. And then also, if you're going to pay with a credit card, also print out the credit card form. Fill that biz out. Then one important step that you need to do to get the apostille. Along with the form and the credit card form, if you're going to use it, you need to either type out or handwrite a cover letter stating that you need your document authenticated so that you can get an apostille. Basically for me, I just wrote, to whom it may concern, I'm applying for a job in South Korea, so I need my background check authenticated so that I can get an apostille. Then you just sign it and put your contact info if you want. Okay, so you take those 3 things, again, down to a mailbox store or to your local cop shop, police station, and get your fingerprints done on a standard fingerprint card. I went to a UPS store that had a person who did fingerprinting, so I did my fingerprints as soon as they were dry, sent all the stuff together with my payment, and sent it off to Washington, D.C. Then you wait. So my background check took about 3 weeks back in February, but I think that was kind of a low tide in terms of people applying for background checks, so it wasn't as long. But I've heard it could take more like 2 or 3 months, so just plan accordingly. So you've got the background check in your hot little hand. It's so exciting, it's done. So this is what it should look like at the bottom. So it should say no record, and then at the bottom you'll have a signature and a ink seal. And this basically is what that authentication is. And this is the signature that your apostille will authenticate. So next step, I would recommend using Federal Department of State to get your apostille. I know some states will do it at the state level, but I know in my state they don't. So what you should do is go online to the Federal Department of State website and look for their authentication service page. And then they have this form that it's like a special form that makes like a barcode at the top. You fill that out and you say that the document originated in the US, it's a FBI background check, and that you're going to use it in South Korea. So you send that form, the original of your background check, and the payment for the fee, and a self-addressed envelope. I would recommend using UPS or FedEx for this because then your apostille won't be all messed up when it comes back. And this is what the apostille should look like from the Federal, and it has like a raised stamp and stuff. And then in the corner it has this brad. Let's see if you can see it. In the corner it has this brad that attaches the apostille to your FBI background check. So wait a couple weeks and you'll have your apostille with the background check, and that will be all good to go. So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful to those of you who are applying for a job in Korea. Next time I'll be starting my K-drama review series, and I'll probably be doing some more videos about preparations for Korea, and then videos in Korea. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I can only go from my experience, and this is my first time doing all this stuff too, so okay, bye!